Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah. Uh, Yesterday I forgot to upload the recording in Moodle. I was just trying to upload the yesterday's content. I uploaded it in YouTube, but Moodle, I feel there is some problem. Moodle, it's not uh, joining now. I couldn't enter into the Moodle site. So by the end of this class, I'll upload it. Okay. Happy that few students are following this lectures in uh, this Moodle and this Google YouTube platform because I feel once I started attending certain online classes on my own, then only I realized the difficulty in attending an online class because once you are in your own home or any other place, in your private confinement, there are so many distractions. Someone will come over to your home, some your parents or brother, someone will be telling something, so there can be some distractions. So if you have a recording in your hand, you can move through it whenever you get time and you can refresh it. So that's why I strictly follow this practice of recording it and uploading it in Moodle, and this will be beneficial to the next batches also. Okay, we will continue with yesterday's class. In yesterday's class, we have completed the different kinds of pesticide formulation, and we started with new generation pesticides. And we just discussed how the pesticide industry changed by the end of last century, during 1990s. We had seen why they are called as new generation pesticides, why the old pesticide groups such as OC, OP, synthetic pyrethroid, carbamate, etc. are called as uh, old generation pesticides because all of them are broad spectrum, not at all specific in nature, while new pesticides are extremely specific, targeting only those insects which we intend to manage. Then the dose factor, the dose is extremely low. We have several kinds of new formulations in which the new molecules are available, and the mode of action, that's one critical factor. Earlier they were mainly targeting on nervous system, but nowadays pesticides are there which are targeting muscular system, respiratory system, etc. So we had seen that differences. Now we will see the new generation pesticide groups one by one. Uh, I may go a bit fast. If somewhere you feel you have any difficulty in following it up, or you feel I'm getting bit monotonous, you can raise your hand. Okay, because there are certain groups, new pesticide groups, which are not that commercially important because of the ineffectiveness of that molecule. It is not that popular now, but there are so those groups I may go a bit fast. Other groups I will those important groups I will emphasize and it will take time to complete. Okay. I'll share the presentation. First, we will start with a group of pesticide called as neonicotinoids. Neonicotinoids. What is the literary meaning of the term neo? New, yes. So neo means new. Nicotine, as you all know, nicotine is the major content of tobacco. So it's a new kind of nicotine. So the pesticide is similar to nicotine structurally and mode of action also it's similar to nicotine, but there is some difference to the traditional nicotine. So that's why they are called as neonicotinoids. So let's see first what is its characteristics, how these pesticides were evolved and what. This is considered as a milestone in the agrochemical industry because this is from if I consider the pesticide history, I feel this is the point from where the new generation pesticide molecules had a great beginning in the agrochemical industry. By the year 1991, uh, Bayer company, a pesticide company called as Bayer, it's a multinational company. They synthesized first neonicotinoid, and by the end of 1990s, India also started. In India, also Bayer started marketing this molecule. This pesticide revolutionized the pesticide industry. Till that date, most of the pesticides were broad spectrum in nature. But this group of pesticide revolutionized it, became an extremely specific pesticide against sucking pest, only against sucking pest. And now almost one-fifth of the global pesticide market is occupied by global insecticide market is occupied by neonicotinoids. So this is one of the largest, we can say the largest pesticide group widely used all over the world. And I told you structure and activity is similar to nicotine, but there is some slight difference. That's why it is called as neonicotinoids. And they act on acetylcholine receptors. In some literature, you can see it as it acts on nicotinic. Specifically, it will write it as nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. Nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. In some literature, you can see that is a specific receptor in which neonicotinoids bind. We discussed about acetylcholine receptors in the previous classes. But acetylcholine receptors are basically divided into two, nicotinic and muscarinic. Muscarinic. What is the difference is that nicotine as well as muscarine are poisons. Nicotine is a poison, muscarine is a nerve poison. Both has the ability to bind to acetylcholine receptors. But there are certain receptors which has more affinity towards nicotine and less affinity towards muscarine. Whereas there are certain acetylcholine receptors which has more affinity towards muscarine and less affinity towards nicotine. So that's why the receptors are of two kinds. Those having more affinity towards nicotine are called as nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, and those having more affinity towards muscarine. It is also a poison called as muscarinic acetylcholine receptors. But our neonicotinoids as well as the nicotine binds to nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. So that's why I generally, as a UG level, you can just write it as acts on acetylcholine receptors. But if you see the old generation molecules, DDT and synthetic pyrotes were acting on sodium channels, OP and carbamates were acting on acetylcholine esterase. Remember, OP and carbamates is acting on acetylcholine esterase enzyme. They are not acting on the receptors. But we had a new molecules which is acting on an entirely new site in an insect system. So because of that, it doesn't had any chance of cross resistance. Cross resistance means if insect develops resistance to a particular molecule, it has the chance of exhibiting resistance to another molecule also. Say, if you are continuously using malathion, an organophosphorus pesticide. So its mode of action is acetylcholinesterase inhibition. The insects, because of the repeated use, insect develop the resistance to acetylcholinesterase. Afterwards, so malathion was not working, you're repeatedly spraying malathion, but it is not at all killing the insect. So you choose another pesticide, you choose Ecalex, quinalphos, another organophosphorus pesticide. But both are having the same mode of action, both belongs to organophosphate group, both are acting on acetylcholinesterase. So an insect which has evolved resistance to malathion has the capacity to show resistance towards quinalphos also. That is called cross resistance. So if any insect has evolved resistance to a particular OP compound, it has the ability to show resistance towards other members of the OP group also because of the same or similar mode of action. But this group, neonicotinoids, had an entirely new mode of action. Because of that, there was no problem of resistance at that time. But nowadays, the scenario is different. After about 20-25 years, insects has developed resistance to neonicotinoids also. And another advantage was that it was relatively low risk for non-target organisms and environment. Have you ever heard about any controversy with respect to neonicotinoids? If someone is enthusiastic in having any interest in environmental issues or following any uh, news articles. No, all over the world, neonicotinoids is facing some threat from not some potential very great threat from environmentalists because all over the world scientists agree. All the scientists across the world agree that the bee population in the world is decreasing. The population of honeybees is decreasing drastically. There is no person denying that fact. It is an agreed fact among scientists. But scientists differ in the reason for this uh, uh, decline in bee population. So some scientists argue that it can be due to pollution. Some scientists argue that it can be due to electromagnetic radiation, mobile towers, and all. A large number of scientists are arguing that the decline in bee population is due to the use of neonicotinoids because these neonicotinoids are having some toxicity towards pollinators. So because of that, in European countries, there is a small ban on the use of neonicotinoids. So maybe after 5 to 10 years, in India also, we may not see neonicotinoids used in agriculture because more and more pressure is there on regulatory authorities to ban the use of neonicotinoids. So at the introduction of that pesticide molecule, it was considered as a low risk pesticide to non-target organisms and environment. Though nicotinic acetylcholine receptors or acetylcholine receptors are present in human beings also, because of its slight difference in the structure, it is extremely, it is having extremely low toxicity towards human beings. I repeat, though in inside nervous system and human nervous system are almost similar. We have acetylcholine receptors. Insects are also having acetylcholine receptor. Both nicotinic acetylcholine receptors also we have, but we have a slight difference in the structure of neonicotinoids. Because of that slight difference in the structure of neonicotinoids, the toxicity of neonicotinoids to mammals is extremely low. So this is what it was taught to me, and I had a personal experience. Once one of my friend, colleague, in the early morning, that was about 8-9 years back. Early morning, he called me and he told that one of his relative accidentally consumed a pesticide. So my colleague, a few days back, my colleague asked for a pesticide to manage termite. He told there is some termite problem in one of his relatives' house. So what should I recommend them? I recommended a neonicotinoid pesticide. We will discuss about that pesticide in the upcoming slides. Recommended a neonicotinoid pesticide, and that relative procured that neonicotinoid pesticide and kept in their kitchen. Their kitchen had some termite infestation. So what occurred that his relative, in the night there was electricity failure at that time. There was no power. So in the night he went to kitchen for taking some water. So instead of the drinking water bottle, he picked up the pesticide bottle and drank. So he called me early up in the morning. Some mistake occurred. What should we do? So I told him, according to the theory I have studied, it should not harm that person because theory says that the neonicotinoid does not act on human nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. So theory is that it may not harm a person, but still we should take him to hospital. And that person was taken to hospital and just washed. Doctors just washed his stomach and didn't had any adverse impact on his health. So this is theoretically as well as practically. This is my own personal experience. These neonicotinoids are not that harmful to mammals, but it has some toxicity towards pollinators. And there are several insecticides in this group. Most of them are available in the market also. The first neonicotinoid molecule introduced in the market was imidacloprid. Actually, it is not imidacloprid. One pesticide more was earlier. One pesticide was introduced in neonicotinoid, but that was not that effective. It was extremely unstable. So always most of the literature consider imidacloprid as the commercially viable neonicotinoid, the first commercially used neonicotinoid. Then acetamiprid is there, thiamethoxam is there, thiacloprid is there, clothianidin is there, and dinotefuran. Imidacloprid, acetamiprid, thiamethoxam, thiacloprid, clothianidin, and dinotefuran. So these are the pesticide molecules in the neonicotinoid group. There are few more pesticides in this group newly introduced that I have not added. That its trade name is Sivando. Sivando. I forgot its chemical name. Just a minute. Uh, yes, its trade name is its chemical is fluopyradifuron. Fluopyradifuron. Remember that I will add into the slide. Fluopyradifuron. Its trade name is available in the trade name Sivando. Sivando. So fluopyradifuron is there again. Just introduced in the market last year. So it's extremely new. So one more molecule is there. Then few molecules are also there which I have not included. One of them is sulfoxaflor. Sulfoxaflor and not introduced in this slide. So if, two or three new molecules are also there. These are the old molecules in the neonicotinoid. If we see the characteristics of neonicotinoids, we can see that it is extremely effective against homopterans. Though we say that it is all the neonicotinoids are extremely effective against sucking pests, and its activity is high against homopterans, not heteropterans. I think you are familiar with. Are you familiar with homopterans and heteropterans? Asinity, they might have taught you. Homoptera, heteroptera. Yes. Aphids, whiteflies, all belongs to the homopteran group. So for homopterans, it is extremely effective, and the dose requirement is extremely low. Usually, if you say about acetamiprid, it is recommended at the rate of 1 gram per 10 liter. 1 gram per 10 liter. Imidacloprid, one formulation is recommended at the rate of 3 ml per 10 liter. Thiamethoxam is 2 gram per 10 liter. So the dose is extremely low compared to other insecticides, and it is an excellent systemic insecticide. All neonicotinoids are excellent systemic pesticides. And mode of action is new that we have discussed. And these neonicotinoids are having wide use. Some pesticides can be used for soil treatment. Some pesticides can be used for foliar application. Some are meant for seed treatment. So wide application, but it has some toxicity towards honeybees. So the general characteristics of a neonicotinoid is it is extremely effective against sucking pests, especially homopterans. It has a unique new mode of action, excellent systemic pesticide. All of them are excellent systemic pesticide. All of them have very low application rate. The rate of pesticide required is extremely low, and it is wide application, soil application, foliar application, seed treatment, but it has toxicity towards honeybees. Coming to the first pesticide molecule, that is imidacloprid. Imidacloprid, as I told you, it was the molecule introduced in 1991 by Bayer. It is highly effective against homopteran. It is also effective against some species of Coleoptera, Diptera, and Lepidoptera. Coleopterans are beetles, Dipterans are flies, and Lepidopterans are butterflies and moths. But the thing is that it's not that effective to Coleoptera, Diptera, and Lepidoptera as Homoptera. We may have to go for a higher dose of neonicotinoids to have it effective against these group of insects. But for homopterans, it is extremely effective at extremely low doses. But for Coleoptera, okay, some effect is there, but not that great. But it doesn't have any activity against nematodes and mites. Not at all having nematicidal and miticidal properties. That's the difference between an old generation pesticide and a new generation pesticide. Take the case of an organophosphorus pesticide, say forate. Forate is having insecticidal activity, acaricicidal activity, nematicidal activity. But see imidacloprid, it is effective against only against this insecticidal nature, no nematicidal or acaricidal property. And among the insecticides in insects group itself, it is more effective against homopterans. That is extremely specific to homopterans. They told you it is good systemic property, it has good, very good xylem mobility, that's why it is having systemic action. It is also having some contact and stomach action and also good. And several formulations of imidacloprid is there. The most common formulation is 17.8 SL. What is SL formulation? How do you expand SL? You can just have a guess. Yes, soluble liquid. Good. Then what is WG? What is WG? Not WG. Wettable granule. Don't say it is wettable granule. It is water dispersible granule. Water dispersible granule. Okay. Water dispersible granule. WP is wettable powder. Okay. FSWS, FS we told it is for slurry treatment. SC is suspension concentrate. And G, actually it should have been GR because it is a granule formulation. So the same pesticide is available in different formulation. SL and WG formulations are meant for foliar application. WS and FS formulation is used for seed treatment. SC formulation, as the name indicates, it is used meant for termite treatment. This was the pesticide I told you in the story earlier. And G, your granule, is for broadcasting in paddy fields. So these are the several formulations of available. And what is the names I have given in the brackets is the trade name. Because imidacloprid, each company manufacturing imidacloprid will have its own trade name. Just like paracetamol having several trade names. Say you might have seen, if you ask paracetamol in one shop, they will give one brand. In another shop, they will give another brand. The Fepanyl, Calpol, etc. So in the same similar manner, different companies have different brand names. So whatever you see the names in the brackets, these are trade names. The 17.8 SL is available as Confidor, Tatameda, etc. As the name indicates, Tatameda, that is from Tata Rallis. The company is Rallis, the company of Tata. Atmer is again another brand. Gaucho, another brand of FS or WS formulation. Termex and Premise are brand names for SC formulation, and Ultimate is a brand name for granule formulation. It is also used for treatment. That's why FS and WS formulations are there. Coming to the next molecule, acetamiprid in neonicotinoid, the characteristics are similar. It is systemic in nature, effective against homopterans. It is available in only one formulation, SP. What is SP formulation? SP is soluble powder. Yes, good. So we have three brand names, not three, they're different brand names. I have given only a few major ones. Pride, Record, Manic, all these are brand names or trade names of acetamiprid. Then comes thiamethoxam. Thiamethoxam is one of the most widely used neonicotinoids nowadays, along with imidacloprid. Again, it is effective against sucking pest, systemic in nature. We have different formulation. One is WG formulation. WG formulation, 20% WG formulation. It is available in the trade name Actera. Remember this trade name. It is available in the trade name Actera. Then there is FS and WS. I think you are familiar with WS. Water dispersible powder for slurry treatment. Water dispersible powder for slurry treatment. For seed treatment purpose. FS is, it is actually an SC formulation. SC formulation. SC formulation is also called flowable. I think in some slides I have given that SC formulation. It's also called flowable. Yes, flowable concentrate. Yes. So FS is flowable for slurry treatment. Flowable for slurry treatment. Okay. Flowable for slurry treatment. So it is meant for all the slurry treatment formulations are meant for seed treatment. So we have a formulation called as cruiser. Neonicotinoids, that is thiacloprid. It is again systemic, but thiacloprid is having some activity to other groups. Some Lepidoptera also, it is effective against some Lepidoptera also. Not that extremely good, but okay kind of pesticide. Its trade name is Alanto. Alanto. Thiacloprid is available as Alanto. Then comes another molecule, that is dinotefuran. Dinotefuran. Since dinotefuran, it is also the same properties are same, effective against sucking insects, systemic in nature. It has some translaminar action also. I told you what is translaminar action. If you spray on the leaf, it gets translocated to the undersurface of the leaf. It doesn't get translocated to the entire plant, only to the undersurface of the leaf. So the trade name is Oshin, Token, etc. 2 weeks back, I've taken your finally Rave seniors to a paddy field, and there for in management of one rice pest, they were using this Oshin. So one thing you should be clear that why we are studying these much pesticides. Whenever you are in the field, the farmers are using so many pesticides, and if you don't understand the pesticide which they are using, they will consider you as name. They will consider you as not having enough information, because they are using one pesticide and you don't know what is that pesticide. So you should have a thorough understanding of the pesticides commonly available in the market. Then comes another pesticide in the neonicotinoid group, clothianidin. It is also effective against sucking pests. It is having the trade name Dantop, Bantop, Poncho, etc. It is Not that common in Kerala, at least in certain parts of Palakkad, this clothianidin use again is sucking pest, effective against sucking pest, having systemic property. Then I told you new pesticide molecule introduced in the market is fluopyradifuron. Fluopyradifuron that I explained to you later. The trade name is Sivandon. So this is with respect to neonicotinoids, a pesticide effective against fomoprins having excellent systemic property. We have imidacloprid, thiamethoxam, acetamiprid, dinotefuran, clothianidin, thiacloprid. So these are the most common pesticides available in the neonicotinoid group. Then comes the next group, that is spinosyn. Next group is spinosyn. This spinosyn actually it is derived from a microbe, a actinomycet Saccharopolysporus spinosa. Repeat, yes, actinomycet which is available in the soil. That actinomycet, scientific name of that actinomycet is Saccharopolysporus spinosa. If we ferment this actinomycet in artificial media, this actinomycet releases so many chemicals, metabolites into this media. I think you have studied Trichoderma, Pseudomonas, etc. in pathology. Rashmi madam might have taught you. Yes. You might have studied about different metabolites released by Trichoderma, Pseudomonas, etc. Pyridine, etc. The same manner, these microbes release several metabolites. This Saccharopolyspora spinosa also release several metabolites, and these metabolites are called as spinosins. The metabolites released by Saccharopolyspora spinosa during its fermentation is called as spinosins, and usually it releases about 23 different kinds of spinosins. 23 spinosins are produced by Saccharopolyspora spinosa, and they are named from A, B, C, D like that. So the major spinosins produced by major metabolites produced by Saccharopolyspora spinosa is spinosin A and D. The most important spinosins produced by Saccharopolyspora is spinosin A and D, and all the spinosins are acting on acetylcholine receptors similar to neonicotinoid. Some difference is that if you go into the minute details, there is some difference in the mode of action, but primary site is acetylcholine receptors. So we will see the first insecticide in this group, that is spinosad. Spinosad. The spinosad is a pesticide which is a mixture of spinosin A and spinosin D. We said that we have 23 different kinds of spinosins released by Saccharopolyspora spinosa during its fermentation, and spinosin A and spinosin D are the major ones, and spinosad is a mixture of this spinosin A and D, and the ratio of that mixture is 85:15. Spinosin A will be 85 parts and spinosin D will be 15 parts. That's why it is called as spinosad. Spinosin A and spinosin D. Again, it is mainly a contact and stomach poison pesticide, but it is having a bit of translaminar and systemic properties also. It's not excellent systemic insecticide, weakly systemic insecticide. It is having some translaminar action also. It is extremely effective against Lepidoptera, that is caterpillars. It is also active against dipterans, especially a group of pests called as leaf miners. Have you ever seen in tomato, brinjal, etc., white lines on the leaf? നിങ്ങൾ എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ബ്രിഞ്ചാളിലും ടൊമാറ്റോയിലും ഒക്കെ ഇലയുടെ മുകളിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ വെളുത്ത വരകൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? യെസ്, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ലീഫ് മൈനർ. ലീഫ് മൈനർ എന്നാണ് അതിനെ പറയുക. ലീഫ് മൈനർ. ആ പേര് പറയുന്ന പോലെ ദീസ് ആർ ഇൻസെക്ട് പെസ്റ്റ് വിച്ച് മൈൻസ് ദ ലീഫ്. ലീഫിന്റെ അകത്ത് ത്വരങ്കം ഉണ്ടാക്കി ജീവിക്കുന്ന പെസ്റ്റുകളാണ്. Mines the leaves and leaves inside the leaf lamina. So this is a dipteran pest. So it is effective against this leaf miners, thrips, and mites. So it is having activity. It's not effective against sucking pest, other sucking pests and all, but it is active against Lepidoptera, extremely effective against Lepidoptera, thrips, and Diptera. Having some activity against mite, but it's not that effective against, extremely effective against mite. But it is widely recommended for the management of veterinary pests. That means pests of dogs, cattle, cats, etc., like fleas, ticks, lice, etc. So it's an agriculture drug as well as a veterinary drug. There are several trade names available: Success, Tracer, Trafin, etc. The Success brand is not that now available in the market now. Tracer and Tuffin also it's slightly difficult. Tracer is still available in the market. So the in spinosyn we have spinosad consisting 85% spinosyn A and 15% spinosyn B. It is a translaminar pesticide. It is weakly systemic in nature, effective against Lepidoptera, Diptera, thrips, and some activity against mites. Used in veterinary pest management also. Another new molecule introduced in the market in spinosyns is Spinetoram. Spinetoram. Spinetoram is a mixture of spinosyn J and spinosyn L. Spinetoram is a mixture of spinosyn J and spinosyn L. It is called as a semi-synthetic spinosyn because it's not the true spinosyn J and spinosyn L which we are using for preparing Spinetoram. We make slight modification to improve its activity. Some modifications are made to spinosyn J. Chemical modifications are made to spinosyn J and spinosyn L and used again in insect pests. The activity is similar to spinosad against Lepidoptera, thrips, and leaf miners. Leaf miner is again a different pest. We have trade names such as Summit, Delegate, Radiant, etc., which is are the trade names of Spinetoram. So spinosad, we have two molecules, spinosad and spinotoram. Spinosad is a combination of spinosyn A and D. Spinotoram is a combination of spinosad, spinosyn J and L. Both are effective against lepidopterans, leaf miners as well as thrips. That is with respect to spinosyns, which is derived from the fermentation of Saccharus polyspora spinosa. Both are acting on nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. Coming to the next group, that is avermectins. Avermectins is similar to spinosyns in that these are also derived from microbes. So if you are asked which are the two microbial derived pesticides, you can name it as spinosins and avermectins. Both are derived from microbes. These avermectins are derived by during the fermentation of a soil bacteria called as Streptomyces avermectinius. Earlier it was called as avermictilis. Earlier the species name was avermictilis. Nowadays this species name is changed to avermectinius. So again, once this bacteria is fermented, we will get several metabolites, and that metabolites are called as avermectins. And these avermectins are having insecticidal, nematicidal, and acaricidal properties. So unlike spinosins, it is having nematicidal properties also, acaricidal as well as insecticidal property. The mode of action is entirely different. It acts on glutamate-gated chloride channels. Glutamate-gated chloride channels. Glutamate-gated means the neurotransmitter is glutamate and the receptor to which the glutamate binds. The glutamate receptor allows the passage of only chloride ions. That's why it is represented like this, glutamate gated chloride channels. The receptor binds only to glutamate, which is the neurotransmitter, and the receptor permits only the movement of chloride ions. So for opening, the key is glutamate. The neurotransmitter is glutamate. Even though the gate opens, it permits only chloride ions through it. That way, the gating is controlled by glutamate and it permits only movement of chloride channels. And for the discovery of ivermectins, recently in 2015, two scientists, W.C. Campbell and Satoshi Omura, W.C. Campbell and Satoshi Omura was awarded Nobel Prize for Medicine, Nobel Prize of Medicine, because there is a nematode which causes a human disease called as river blindness. River blindness. It's also called as onchocerciasis and elephantiasis. What is elephantiasis? മലയാളത്തിൽ എന്താ elephantiasis എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്? നിങ്ങൾ പഠിച്ചിട്ടില്ല elephantiasis? മന്ത്, യെസ്, മന്ത്. So mantha is also, it's a filaria, it's a nematode. So this ivermectin, because of its activity against nematode, it was found to be used as a drug in humans against river blindness and filariasis or elephantiasis. So these two scientists were given Nobel Prize for Medicine for discovery of ivermectin. In that, we have a pesticide called as abamectin. Abamectin, again, just like spinosad, is a mixture of two metabolites, ivermectin B1A and ivermectin B1B. Abamectin is a mixture of ivermectin B1A and B1B. Ivermectin B1A is 80% and B1B is 80%. B1A is 80% and B1B is 20%. And it is an extremely effective acaricide. Extremely effective acaricide. Some insecticidal activity also, but it's more of an acaricide. We have two trade names, Vertimac, Abacin, etc. Vertimac, Abacin, etc. Then we have another ivermectin molecule, that is imamectin benzoate. Imamectin benzoate. It is just like spinetoram. It is a semi-synthetic ivermectin. That means we have made slight modifications to the structure of the ivermectins, and it is a stomach poison. Translaminar action is the extremely effective against lepidopteran. Very good pesticide against caterpillars. The trade name is Proclaim. Several trade name is there. I have given only the trade name Proclaim. So in ivermectin group, we have two abamectin, which contains B1A and B1B in 80-20 ratio. It is an extremely effective acaricide. Then we have a semi-synthetic ivermectin, that is imamectin benzoate, which is a stomach poison, and it is effective against lepidopterans. Coming to the next group, that is phenylpyrrosol. Phenylpyrrosol. In phenylpyrrosol, we have two insecticides, fipronil and ethiprol. Fipronil and ethiprol. We will discuss about only fipronil because ethiprol is not at all used in pest management. Unlike other pesticides, just now we have discussed neonicotinoid, which is effective against Homoptera, spinosins effective against lepidopterans, leaf miners, thrips, etc. Ivermectin is effective against mites and lepidopterans. This fipronil is a group which is having broad spectrum activity. That means it is effective against Lepidoptera, it is effective against sucking pests, it is effective against dipterans. So it is having some broad spectrum action. It is having low toxicity to mammals. It is having low toxicity to mammals. Because of its low toxicity to mammals, it is used for the management of household pests. ഈ വീട്ടിൽ ചില വീട്ടിൽ ഉറുമ്പ് ശല്യം വളരെ പേടിയാണ്. ആൻഡ് പ്രോബ്ലം ഇൻ homes. They are having many persons are having extreme aversion to ants. So in those cases, cockroaches, etc. So in those cases, fipronil is marketed for the management of household pests, and it is because of its low toxicity to mammals. And the mode of action is they are inhibitors of GABA-gated chloride channels. Just like we discussed about ivermectins, which is acting on glutamate-gated chloride channels. The key for that receptor is GABA receptor is GABA, that is the neurotransmitter, Even the gate opens, it permits only the movement of chloride ions. So that is GABA gated chloride channel. Coming to the first one, that is fipronil. We will discuss only fipronil. We won't be discussing about ethiprol. It has contact, stomach poison, and systemic in nature. Remember, this is a systemic insecticide. It has contact and stomach action. I told you it is broad spectrum in nature. It is used for the management of soil as well as foliar insect because it is available in a granular form. It is applied in soil also. It is sprayed on the crop. So it has diverse action, soil as well as foliar insecticide. It is a broad spectrum insecticide, systemic in nature. I told you it is effective against cockroaches and termites. Nowadays, people are widely using it against ants also. But in agriculture, it is having some toxicity to bees as well as fish. So we usually don't recommend fipronil when the crop is in the flowering stage, because once the crop is in the flowering stage, it can lead to uh, mortality of honeybees. So that is one thing. And we have uh, three different formulations: SC formulation, that is suspension concentrate formulation, granule formulation, and WG, water dispersible granule formulation. SC and granule formulation is available in the trade name Regen. WG formulation is available in the trade name Gem. And if you just type fipronil in Amazon, you can get a trade name called as Max Force. Max Force. Max Force. Max Force is a gel formulation of fipronil. If you just type Max Force or fipronil, Max Force cockroach gel, it will come as Max Force cockroach gel. And it is just like a syringe, a bigger kind of syringe which we use for injections and all. So this syringe contains this fipronil, but it is an extremely costly chemical. If someone is having some household problem of ants and cockroaches, they can try this Max Force. It is available in Amazon and all, but I just check the cost. A 30 gram tube costs 640 rupees. So that is the cost of it. But it is an extremely effective pesticide against uh, um, this ants and cockroaches. And it's a new, it's a formulation is also unique. That formulation is gel, gel formulation. Gel formulation available or no. It's not at all meant to mix with water and spray. Just from the tube, just like a syringe, apply it over the places where cockroaches and ants are frequent. Okay. So this is phenylpyrazole. We discuss only fipronil. Ethiprol we are not at all discussing. Coming to the next group, that is niristoxin analogs. Niristoxin analogs. Actually, niristoxin is a poison. Niristoxin is a poison which is obtained from a marine annelid called as Lumbrineris heteropoda. Niristoxin is a poison. It's an animal origin poison, and this poison is obtained from a marine organism, annelid organism called as Lumbrineris heteropoda. And niristoxin is having toxicity towards insects also. So scientists discovered chemicals which is acting like niristoxin. Chemicals which are analogous to niristoxin, which is similar to niristoxin in structure and activity. So those are called as niristoxin analogs. We have mainly three: cartap, benzeltap, and thiocyclone. These are the three pesticides in this group, niristoxin analogs, of which we discuss only the first one, cartap. The other two are minor, so we will discuss only cartap. They act on acetylcholine receptors. Remember, in acetylcholine receptors, we have neonicotinoids. We have spinosins as well as this Nereis toxin analogs, and they are broad spectrum insecticides similar to fipronil. That means Acton, Lepidoptera, Coleoptera, Diptera, etc. It's not systemic, slightly systemic in nature, but it's not that highly systemic. For mainly a contact and stomach insecticide. And we discussed about pro-insecticide. That means the chemical will get converted into more toxic pesticide molecule. So it gets converted into Nereis toxin. Nereis toxin is more, if Cartap is sprayed, if Cartap enters into the insect body, in insect body it gets converted into Nereis toxin. So that is Nereis toxin analogs. We will discuss Cartap hydrochloride. I told you it is a broad spectrum insecticide, effective against coleopterans, lepidopterans, as well as sucking pests. We have several trade names. I have given only two: Caldan and Padan. Caldan and Padan. So it's a broad spectrum insecticide, effective against coleopterans, lepidopterans, and sucking pests. The trade name is Caldan and Padan. Coming to the next pesticide group, that is diamide insecticide. Remember this group because this diamide group is an extremely important group in agrochemical industry now. Farmers are widely using this diamide group. This diamide group was introduced in the market by late 2000. It was I first saw this group in 2008-9. So it was registered roughly in 2005, 6, etc. So this diamide group, we mainly have two subgroups: phthalic diamide and anthranilic diamide. Just remember that that's because of that's the two different chemical structure, phthalic acid and anthranilic acid. That's why it is called as phthalic diamide or anthranilic diamide. So one having the basic structure of phthalic acid, another one is having the basic structure of anthranilic acid. Just remember that we have three insecticides registered in this group: flubendiamide, chlorantraniliprole, and cyantraniliprole. As of now, only three insecticides are registered in the country: flubendiamide, chlorantraniliprole, and cyantraniliprole. They are having very low mammalian toxicity. That means it is extremely low toxicity to mammals. Have you studied about the color coding of pesticides, or have you observed any triangular warning coloration on pesticide bottles? Yes. What are the colors you have seen? Red, that is the most toxic. Green, that is the least toxic. Blue, red, yellow, blue, and green. So this is this diamide group all having green label to it because it is having low toxicity. Till the introduction of diamide group, only neem-based pesticides, that is botanical pesticide derived from neem, our common plant, is having green label. None of the insecticides, fungicides were having green label, but none of the insecticides were having green label. This was the first group which was given a green label because of its low toxicity to mammals, because it binds to a receptor called as ryanodine receptor. This ryanodine receptor is located in muscles, and this receptor permits the movement of calcium ions. So this ryanodine receptor is a calcium channel. That means it permits the movement of calcium ions, and because of the unique muscular system present in insects, it is less toxic to mammals. The mammalian muscular system and insect muscular system is entirely different. So that's why a muscle poison acting on insects won't be toxic to insects or toxic to human beings. So we will see the members of that group. The first one is flubendiamide. It is effective against lepidoptera. It doesn't have any activity against any other insect group. It's extremely effective against lepidoptera. We have three different formulation: SC formulation, that is suspension concentrate; WG is water dispersible granule; and G actually it should be GR, The trade name of granule is Saigon, WG is Takumi, and SC formulation is FAME, FAME. The next pesticide is chlorantraniliprole. Chlorantraniliprole is also an extremely effective lepidopteran pesticide, but it is having some activity towards coleopterans also. Some activity. It is contact as well as systemic in nature. We have two formulations of chlorantraniliprole, SC and granule formulation. SC formulation is available as Coragen and granule formulation is available as Fertera. Remember this because flubendiamide, chlorantraniliprole are widely used pesticide by farmers. Contact systemic, two formulation SC and granule formulation. Then one more pesticide in this diamide group, that is cyantraniliprole. It was brought in the market about 5 to 6 years back. It is an excellent systemic insecticide. But unlike chlorantraniliprole and flubendiamide, which are effective against lepidopterans, cyantraniliprole is effective against Coleoptera, Hemiptera, it should have been Diptera. Coleoptera, Hemiptera, Diptera, and Lepidoptera. So it is a broad spectrum diamide insecticide, cyantraniliprole. LD50 is greater than, again, it's a green labeled one. And it is only one formulation is available, OD, oil dispersion formulation. And it is available in the trade name, Benevia. One more trade name is Cyazypyr. It's not Cyazypyr, is actually not a trade name, but one other name given by the patented company. Benevia is the actual trade name available in the market. Okay. I tried to complete new generation pesticides, but no. Okay. Any doubts? I know the names and all may be a bit difficult for you, but try to read one or two times. The names will be familiar to you. Okay, thank you. We'll meet on Monday.